Today, I want to delve deeply into the concept of change. However, I'm not referring to the mundane, everyday adjustments we make in our daily lives. I'm not talking about the minor inconveniences like switching to a new coffee creamer when our favorite brand is unexpectedly unavailable at the local grocery store, or choosing a different route to work because of road construction. These are simple, easily managed changes that barely ripple the surface of our routine. Instead, what I aim to address is the profound, life-altering kind of change. This is the sort of deep, seismic transformation that doesn't just alter the course of your day, but redirects the path of your life. It's the kind of change that brings you to your knees, not in prayer, but in a desperate scramble for stability as your world seemingly crumbles around you. How many of you have experienced that kind of change? It just cuts you to the core, breaks your heart and soul open as you plead for relief from the agony for just a few minutes. Your mind races constantly trying to find a path out, and if you could just figure a way out, then everything will be okay. You try and try over and over again, like a little hamster in a wheel. Round and round you go, hoping this time the outcome is different. And in the end, you're just repeating the same insane cycle, expecting a different outcome. Your inner self is gently nudging you, sending subtle reminders that you're not truly content with the current state of affairs, and this realization leaves a bitter taste in your mouth. And deep down, there's an unsettling feeling that something just isn't right. You find yourself pondering, why can't I control the outcomes in my life? What happened to the power of manifestation that I once believed in so strongly? We are talking about a transformation so intense and all-consuming that it compels you to seek help, to reach out for a lifeline because navigating it alone feels like an insurmountable task. Maybe it's a sudden health diagnosis that turns your world upside down, or the end of a long-term relationship that leaves you reeling and questioning everything you thought you knew about love. Perhaps it's losing a job or facing financial ruin, causing you to question your worth and purpose in life. Whatever the catalyst may be, one thing is certain: change is inevitable. We cannot escape it, and while some changes may seem small and insignificant in comparison to others, they all have the power to shape our lives in ways we never could have imagined. So how do we cope with these transformative changes? How do we navigate uncharted waters and come out on the other side stronger and more resilient? The truth, which we often overlook, is that our desires and our reality may not align because the environment we immerse ourselves in, the people, the places, and the things we choose to surround ourselves with may not be in harmony with what we're striving to manifest. We need to realize there's a disconnect between our inner aspirations and the outer world we've constructed around us. To bridge the gap, it's crucial to reassess and realign our surroundings with our true desires, ensuring that every aspect of our lives resonate with what we aim to achieve and become. This profound change tears you away from everything. It is the type of change that we often resist with all of our might, clinging to the familiar even as it suffocates us. We tend to shy away from this kind of change because it brings uncertainty and discomfort. It forces us to face our fears and vulnerabilities, to confront aspects of ourselves that we have been avoiding. But at its core, this type of change is necessary for growth and progress in life. Without it, we become stagnant, trapped in a cycle of monotony and mediocrity. So how do we embrace this kind of change instead of resisting it? How do we see it as an opportunity for personal evolution rather than something to be feared? First, we must accept that change is inevitable. When the world around us and all the people whom you've diligently worked to build a life vanish in thin air, it can be the result of numerous factors. A sudden loss, a dramatic shift in personal beliefs, a career upheaval, or an unexpected health diagnosis. Each of these scenarios thrusts you into seclusion, not necessarily by choice, but driven by the overwhelming fear of the unknown that lies ahead. The road forward is uncharted, filled with uncertainty and the daunting task of rebuilding. But it's in these moments of change that we have the opportunity to grow and evolve. The symbolism of a snake in various cultures has often been interpreted to represent both positive and negative aspects. However, I prefer to view it as a symbol of healing, akin to the Ouroboros. This depiction of a snake consuming its tail signifies the conclusion of one life phase and the rebirth into another, encapsulating a perpetual cycle of transformation. The essence of change involves altering or making something different. To transform then means to undergo a significant shift in appearance, character, or circumstances. So when I lost my old life, what I fondly call my molting period, it was like shedding my former self. Imagine a snake shedding its skin, and yes, it was painful and terrifying, and yet it forced me to rebuild my life from scratch, offering me the precious opportunity to heal parts of myself long neglected. I confronted the toxic behaviors of others who had controlled me for far too long, releasing their grip on me, and this transformative period allowed me to discover genuine joy that wasn't tied to the latest trend. Imagine having to choose only the essentials and the things that you truly love to take with you. For me, that means those precious items and, of course, my beloved fur balls. It's moments like these that you zero in on what matters most to you. And you begin to revel in your solitude, embracing the peace of being alone. That horror movie that once played on loop in your mind's theater has finally taken a final bow. Now you find your thoughts wandering to your next big dream, pondering over what exciting creative project you'll embark on next. And every moment stolen by jealousy and hatred, every lie spread, the rejection, the ghosting. I felt it all, deeply. The verbal and sexual abuse, manipulation, gaslighting, and even the death threats didn't go unnoticed. They tried to terrorize me, but I made a choice. I chose to fill my heart with love, my mind with strength, and focus on the path ahead, on the person I was determined to become. Yes, the beginning was tough. There were days I cried until it felt like no tears were left. The pain eventually eased, and that's when I asked myself one crucial question. Are you worth it? So when it's tough, and when it hurts, and when you're struggling to get by, ask yourself, is it worth it? Are you worth it? Because you are. I don't care how long it takes you to rebuild your life. At least you're rebuilding your life free from the past things that were holding you back. Free from all that pain that was controlling your mind. Free from all those people that hurt you. Free from all that resentment and anger that you held on to for so many years. You are worth letting that go and starting over. And you are worth shedding your skin and having a brand new life. I don't care how old you are. So instead of resisting change, we must embrace it. Change brings new perspectives, challenges us to adapt, and pushes us out of our comfort zones. It forces us to break free from old patterns and beliefs and opens up space for new opportunities and growth. We can learn to be more resilient, open-minded, and adaptable by embracing change. We must also see change as an opportunity for personal evolution. When faced with a major life change, it's easy to feel overwhelmed or even paralyzed by fear. But if we shift our mindset and see this as an opportunity for growth, we can approach the experience with curiosity rather than resistance. And falling back into old habits, tirelessly fighting to keep everything the same, clinging to the past and giving into peer pressure to fit in, it's a dance we know all too well. But at the heart of this struggle lies our fear of the unknown and a deep desire to make our world feel safe and predictable. When I lived in Los Angeles, I fought to stay there for so long. It was like a sinking ship. And there were so many moments and so many signs that I needed to pack it all up and move away. I was trying too hard to stay. It was like a losing battle. And you know, when those things happen to you and you just keep ignoring them and you don't listen, the universe is telling you over and over again. It wants you to move in a different direction, right? And when I finally had no choice and I had lost my job or was losing my job and I was getting evicted from my apartment because I had no way of paying my rent and I was in the middle of losing everything, I had the inevitable choice that I had to move away, right? Come home to Montana. And I started to think about, what quality of life was like and the things that were important to me. I mean, how could you not, right? When you're packing up just your vital belongings that matter to you. This is where everybody kind of fits in to this scenario. I mean, majority of the population in the United States and arguably majority of the world. But I can only speak of my experience living here in this country and what I see on the news and my friends and the people in my state and the states that I've lived in, is that even here, the sky-high rent prices and the median wage gap between the two, forcing many of us to spin plates and juggling 3 to 4 jobs just to keep up with our monthly bills. In this whirlwind, truly savoring life seems like a distant fantasy. And if I lived in Los Angeles, this city buzzing with life, my social life was on life support. Lunches with friends, hikes, or beach days were rare. And my so-called days off were blurs of chores, side hustles, the endless hunt for more work, or just collapsing from the grind. Catching up with friends felt like a biannual event. This isn't living at all. It's barely scraping by. And this isn't just something unique for people living in a big city. It's to some degree all over the country. And it's a life nobody should have to endure. I mean, you shouldn't have to be working an actual career and then go to a food pantry in order to feed your family because your income isn't high enough to support it throughout the month. This is how the United States of America is taking care of its citizens with a job. The time that I had taken off of my work, I was fortunate enough to have paid into a short-term Social Security benefit and was fortunate enough to receive that period of time to heal. But not everybody has that. I wasn't given unemployment when that ended. because I was unable to return to California to get my job back. I was unable to apply for other jobs that were remote based because of my reputation being dragged through the mud by the toxic people in my life. And I bring that up because I want to drive home a point that we arrive at a crossroads in our lives to settle for the ordinary or to chase the extraordinary. It's high time we put ourselves first and usher in the changes that will revolutionize our lives. And once we surrender to the flow of life and accept that change is an inevitable part of our existence, we can begin to find peace and contentment in the new circumstances that arise. It's not the change itself that is daunting, but rather our resistance to it. It's our insistence on controlling everything, on holding tightly to the illusion of stability that hinders our smooth transition through life's inevitable changes. It was me trying to hold on to everything that I had built, to my reputation, and attempt to change the lies that were being spread about me that was so hurtful and so painful. And once I surrendered to let these people say whatever they wanted to say and let the cards fall where they may, and the people that wanted to believe those lies, the institutions that wanted to believe those lies, let them. Because that way I would know who was meant to be in my life and who was meant to leave my life by their actions towards me. By embracing change, we open ourselves to new possibilities and opportunities for growth and development, making our journey through life a more enriching and fulfilling experience. So the next time you feel yourself resisting change, remember that it's often the catalyst for positive transformation, and learn to welcome it with open arms. And try to embrace life's journey with trust and hold on to the faith that everything will unfold for the best. And let's boldly embrace change as we craft our stories, allowing ourselves to flourish and transform with every twist and turn. Sending you all so much sunshine and love. And if you've made it this far, thank you for joining me. If you like my message, subscribe, hit the like button, share, and even comment below about moments of change in your life that impacted you. And thank you so much for joining me today and every day.